Hey, I am Latsaki, and let's talk about the worm strat. Let's start from understanding how the worm phase works in general. Worm phase starts when you can hear a growling sound that indicates transformation of the balancer. Next you will hear the scream that indicates end of the gang phase. From here you can see worm appearing from the ground, following with initial dive and spear rain. After, it will do interchangeable slithers with a dive between them, ending with finishing dive and a bloom attack. This part is pretty simple, but it is very important because the worm phase is a scripted sequence, which allows us to do scripted sequences to avoid or control the worm if we understand how they work. Now let's talk about each part of the worm phase by itself. First part is appearing. We can include here a growling transforming sounds, scream, and worm appearing. What we need to do here is to locate a growling sound and run to it as soon as we can. While we are running to it, or during the worm's actual appearance, we want to locate ourselves specifically between the worm and the middle of the arena. And I will later explain why. Now for the spear rain. When worm appears, it will do initial dive and follow it with a spear rain. The thing is, after initial dive, worm can appear in two different places from you. If you were far enough from initial dive, worm will go away to the left from you. If you were up close, in the sweet spot on initial dive, it will appear near you. If it appears near, there is nothing really hard to do, just go to the left and right to avoid the spear rain. If you were far enough from it, you need to close your distance to the worm by either doing a zigzag strafes, or running to it directly and rolling through the spear rain. A small note about spear rain. Hitbox appears after the spear lands on the ground, not when it lands, so delay your dodge a little bit. Here comes actually the easiest part. After spear rain ends, we want to position ourselves close to the left to the worm. It is done so we can easily avoid both slithers at the same time. And here we are going to talk about positioning before initial dive. Knowing that worm will appear away to the left from us and it will target spear rain on us, it allows us to position the worm in a very specific way by standing between it and middle of the arena. So when the worm finishes spear rain, it has a lot of space to move during the slithers. Here is a visualization of it starting with initial dive and ending with a first Slither, where W is a worm, P is a player, white arrow is a worm movement, and red arrow is a spear rain. And now we are actually gonna talk about both variations of interchangeable Slithers. First is zigzag. When the worm does zigzag Slither, we just go behind it. And once we get past the worm, we either continue to run away from it, if we don't have the wall in front of us, of course, or we stop for a little bit and start running into the ending of second Slither. Because ending of second Slither doesn't have a hitbox, which allows us to reposition further from the wall. If the worm does forward Slither, we just react to it and run either to the left or to the right. And then we just jump over the golden waves. After one of these, worm will do a second dive and go for the opposite Slither. And we actually literally do the same. It will follow second interchangeable Slither with a final dive, and we will be perfectly set either to punish the bloom or just to run away. And as a cherry on top, I want to talk about Slithers a little bit more, because you can have even more control over the worm. Both Slithers have some tracking, which means you can stay either in front of the worm or more to the side right before the Slither, which allows us to choose more favorable direction for the Slither. And this is a strat I use. It may take some time to practice or to understand, but it will allow you to have full control over the worm, which I find very handy because it will give your teammates a breathing room. Some additional notes: never do the strat with less likely on you, worm just won't target you. If you are at the other side of the map, you will have enough time to get close to the worm, but it will require faster reaction to growling sound and more precise movement during the spear rain. So to prevent a situation like this, just circle around balancers, right outside the range of the spear range attack. Random mini blooms during spear rain may force you to roll, so just in case, be ready. Any single hit damage negation buffs, stamina regen or max stamina will be insanely handy during this phase. I tested this strategy with level 12 Revenant to ensure this is consistent across all character cast. Footage you see was done in free reign, so feel free to download the mod and practice. This is it. Thank you for watching. I hope this guide helps. Here are a few more examples for you.